Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Westfield Sports Show Around the Horn. Today, myself and Rylan are going to be asking a series of questions to our contestants, your members of the sports show, and we will be grading their answers on a scoring scale with a maximum of 3 points, and they can even lose points down to -3 if we don't like their answers. And to start off here, our very first question we're going to be asking Roen, would the Texans be smart or dumb to take a QB at 2?
Well, I think considering the circumstances of where they're at, Davis Mills being your quarterback 1 is, not great. Obviously, I think next year's quarterback class is better than this year's. You can get a guy like Caleb Williams, maybe J.J. McCarthy or Drake May. I wouldn't hate that decision at all to get a guy like Anthony Richardson at number 2.
Here's the thing. The Texans have not had a reliable QB1 in such a long time, and this is their draft that they can finally get one. And if they don't take a quarterback, then they will be very, very dumb. Will Anderson is a good prospect. He's not what you need. Your defense is struggling, and you can work on that in the draft. And there's not many quarterbacks that you can say, yes, I want him. He is my franchise quarterback for years to come. So it would be definitely a smart choice by the Texans to pick a quarterback with their number 2 overall pick.
If I'm the Texans GM, I'm pressing the hold button on selecting a QB. If you select a QB like CJ Stroud, if you get Bryce Young, they're going into an offense. Number 1 wide receiver right now is Nico Collins, and I don't think any QB wants to deal with that. Plus, there are so many defensive options to go with, like Tyree Wilson, Will Anderson, to build your defense around, because that's also a huge need for the Texans. I say you press the hold button, just be patient. Davis Mills is fine. He's productive sometimes. You're not going to go from a 3-win season, 2-win, whatever they had, to a wild card in one season. You're just not going to. So for that reason, press the hold button, select Will Anderson.
I think that they have a lot of other options that will be coming in the next picks, and I don't think Casario or Ryans is going to go with somebody that they're not 100% positive with. Yeah, I just think that it would be a bad choice for them to go with somebody right now and they could go with somebody else later.
Okay, good answers. Going to the points here. Starting off with Roen, we're going to give Roen 2. Evan is also going to get 2 out of the 3 points. Aidan is going to get 3 out of the 3 points. And Adrienne, unfortunately, is only getting 1 this time around. So the next question is, what did the Milwaukee Bucks do wrong? They went out game 5. They lost the 1 seed. What did they do wrong? Starting off with Evan.
Simple enough, they didn't execute. You have Giannis, you have a lot of superstars on that team, and really, whenever it comes time to be clutch and it's crunch time, it's the games that actually matter in the playoffs, you didn't execute. You had a terrible game 1, game 2, game 3. You have to execute at this point in the season, which they clearly just did not do. In these games, these playoff games, these games that decide the future of your franchise almost, you have to execute.
I totally agree with that, but I think a huge issue, also Giannis missing 2 games, I believe it was, with an injury, played a huge factor, but still, in game 5, they were up 16 points in the second half, and they blew that lead. They had nobody to guard Jimmy Butler throughout the series. He had a 50-point game, a 40-point game. I mean, Jimmy Butler was just dominating the Bucks on both ends of the floor, too. So I think it was a mismatch, in my opinion. This Heat team, they came together at the right time, and I heard Giannis in the press conference say, oh, this season was not a failure. I get that point. The season was a failure, though. You're the 1 seed, and you lost to the first ever play-in team to advance to the second round. Absolute failure.
I agree with Roen, although I wouldn't say this was a failure of a season. They still had the best regular season out of everyone. I don't know. It's not really of what the Bucks did wrong. It's more of what the Heat did right. They took advantage of Giannis Antetokounmpo being out. I think it was 2 games. You have Jimmy dropping his 50 bombs. Jimmy Butler in the playoffs is different. He's proven that throughout his whole career. The Bucks just simply didn't have the depth because they were more of an injury-prone team towards the end of the season and to the start of the playoffs. And the Miami Heat had that depth. They've had that all regular season. They're a playoff team. We saw that last year with them making them to the Eastern Conference Finals. So they just got a little unlucky. Giannis didn't play the way he wanted to. He was injury prone. The whole team was injury prone. They just didn't have the depth to handle with the Heat.
When a good player on a team is injured, like Giannis, it really affects the entire team. And when you have a team like Miami, who is obviously, as we've seen, really strong, it's going to look bad on the other team because they're not going to do as well when that player is injured and not doing their best. So I agree, it wasn't a complete failure of the season, but it also wasn't definitely wasn't a strong season for them.
All right, so updated scores here. We gave Rowan 3 for his answer. You now have 5. Evan, we gave you 2 with 4. Aidan, received 2. And then Adrienne received 2 with Aidan at 5 and Adrienne now at 3. Our next question here is going to be tackling baseball. Do you think the new time-based rule changes are good or bad for the game?
There are certain situations where it could help because, for one, I mean, the time of game, that's been a huge debate for the past 10 or 20 years, whether the games should be shortened. The time between at-bats is just crazy. But in certain situations, let's say bottom of the ninth, there are 2 strikes and the bases are loaded, 2 outs, and you're down 2, for example, just an example, and then you get called out on strikes because of a violation, not getting back in the batter's box in time. That's just a bit ridiculous, I think. I think if I were to kind of hinder the rule a little bit, I would have it so after the 7th or 8th inning, I would get rid of the rule.
These rule changes have so far, been very well accepted by fans. You see all over social media how, 1 at-bat in today's world would have been a third of an at-bat last year or any years before that. So far, they've made a positive change on the sport. But again, as Rowan said, if you think about the negatives, you lose those Game 7 moments in even regular season games because of, maybe a pitch clock violation or just some oddity that you get with a rule such as the new ones this year. And so that kind of diminishes the fact that you have new rules and they are helping the sport, and that kind of sheds some bad light on them. So they have been very helpful for the sport. They have been, decreasing game time in total, but you have to weigh the pros and the cons, and there's definitely more pros than cons so far this season.
I personally don't like the rule. Obviously, baseball games, average action time of only 17 minutes. Obviously, that speeds it up. Fans are paying more for less at that point. Like Rowan said, great point. I feel like they should take it out 7th, 8th, 9th inning. I guess continue the momentum and let players find their groove late when it matters. Just for right now, let the fans sit back, eat their peanuts and cotton candy, and just enjoy the game. I'm personally not in favor of the rule. It's just unnecessarily taking off so much time that doesn't need to be taken off.
I think, again, there's pros and cons of both sides, because with the extra time for the players to be able to gather themselves and get ready for the next play, I understand how that would be helpful for the players, but at the same time, waiting for way too long, just watching somebody prepare, I don't know. I can see both sides. For the fans, I feel like it'd be better if the game was going faster. But for the players, I think if they had more time to prepare themselves and not get penalized for that, that would be more helpful for them. So I think that there's a good and a bad side for both the players and the people watching.
So for this one, we're going to give everybody 2 points. Okay. So we have Evan at 6, Aidan at 7, Rowan at 7, and Adrienne rounding out the group with 5. Next up, the question is, do you think NBA players should be able to go into the draft right out of high school?
I think if the player has enough talent to be able to get drafted into the NBA, I think absolutely, because age really doesn't matter in those regards. If you're good enough to be playing at that point, and the thing restricting you is that you haven't gone through college, I think that they should be able to be drafted out of high school. But I also think that the experience of playing college ball before going to play for the NBA, I feel like that's really crucial, because if you don't really have that experience, you just go from high school to, these are grown men. I think that could be really difficult for some of those players.
I oppose completely high school basketball players going straight to the NBA. It stunts the youth of the sport, because then you're allowing way too many 18, maybe 17-year-old students go into the NBA straight making $1 million. It's not good for the league. It's not good for the players themselves. There's so many other routes you can take. I would much rather have you go to, the OTE or go the route LaMelo Ball did, just not the NBA. I can't emphasize it enough. I'm glad they took that possibility out. Obviously, LeBron and Kobe are great examples, but that's LeBron and Kobe. Those are the 2 and 5th greatest players of all time. I completely agree with going to college, OTE, or any other place, just not the NBA. It just stunts the whole league and it stunts the students themselves.
At the end of the day, I think it's a personal choice. You know, if you want to declare for the draft, if you think you're good enough, then you can do so. But you're going to be humbled really quick as soon as, you know, none of the NBA scouts or coaches even want you on their roster. If no one wants to draft you, then they won't. If you want to try and, you know, throw your name out there and try and get drafted, you can. But I'm not in favor of it in any way. As Aidan said, you know, education is really important. Any NBA player would stress that right now. Especially guys drafted straight out of high school and even past NBA players, they would stress that. You need an education, especially in that. College ball will definitely help you get that experience that you wouldn't get, you know, in those 4, 5, or 6 years that you're in college. So I'm opposed to it, but it's at the end of the day, it's an opinion.
I actually think that a player, what they have now actually really isn't that bad. The G League Ignite, I think that program is really great for developing talent. We've seen with Jalen Green how well that's benefit him and Jonathan Kuminga. But at the same time too, I think going to Europe for a year could also be very beneficial and can teach a young man, an 18-year-old kid, some life lessons that they wouldn't necessarily learn if they went straight to the NBA. So I think the options that these kids have now is actually pretty good. But going straight from high school to the NBA, maybe not the best move because, I mean, a rookie signing bonus usually is a couple $1 million. Give an 18-year-old kid like a couple $1 million, I mean, that's could be an issue. So I think I would not have players go straight from high school to the NBA.
All right, so we are done here with all of our questions that we had to ask, and we're going to begin your results starting from last place. I'd like to point out that the difference between the winner and the loser was only 2 points. This was a very close contested race. Everyone did a great job. And last, we have Adrienne with 8, and then we have a tie between 2 people for second. So that means the 3 guys, one of these guys is the winner, and 2 of them are tied for second, so we're going to reveal the winner. In first place with 10 points is Roen. So once again, like we said, you know, great job to everyone. Everyone had very insightful answers. Everyone did a great job. Hope we all had fun here today. Congratulations, Roen, on winning Around the Horn.
Thank you.